From LALATE headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Afternoons LALATE.
It's a big afternoon of Afternoons LALATE with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check update of 2022. We're going to go over those incredible MSCs that the membership of this channel got overnight. Congratulations to them and how you can get them as well. It's from third stimulus. Then we'll be looking at the big checks, $80,000 of them, that the membership are getting from fourth stimulus. It has happened. The checks are going out. Joe has sent those checks out. All the latest details on that. Plus, a lot of other breaking developing details. We'll look at the Build Back Better Act that's going to get a second round this week. What's happening with that? We'll be looking at the CR for stimulus is going to get a second round as well. Then the FOMC meeting last week, but since that FOMC meeting, there's been big talk of coming in more aggressively on inflation. What does that do for your SS300 looming in the background? All of the latest details on that could raise your benefits up $300, not just this month, but a generation, a lifetime. Then we turn to sixth stimulus because all these packages overlap. They're not sequential, they are all at the same time. And it's Putin's stimulus. The oil has a deal. If you saw it on this channel on Friday night on the Evenings LA, America's most watched show for financial news in prime time, I broke you the deal. There's a deal on oil, so get ready. You're paying massive sums at the pump no longer. You're going to see the cheapest prices, not even before Putin invaded Ukraine, but of a generation. It's huge breaking news. Then we'll be looking at the situation from wheat as the commodity situation getting worse because of Putin. Now analysts have apparently been watching this channel because now they're talking about the commodity prices. You're paying a lot for bread at the supermarket. I'll explain you why and why sixth stimulus will heat up this week. The international leadership of Biden, Germany's chancellor, and Macron from France will be meeting overseas to discuss that sixth stimulus package. But first, we have big breaking news as the membership of this channel got that MSC of this week. I'm going to show you how to get it as well. And have now gotten those $80,000 of fourth stimulus. They're getting third, they're getting MSC, and they're getting $80,000 at the same time. The exciting details of the Biden payouts coming up in today's recording and a preview of tonight's Evenings LALATE. It's a huge recording with a lot of breaking details, a lot of money, inflation, recession, and more. The latest you need to know across the board. From the shores of Santa Monica to the shores of the Black Sea, it's afternoons, and the excitement starts right now on a big recording, a big day, and a big news cycle across the board. Are you ready for it? I am. It's afternoons. And good afternoon, everybody. It is Sunday, March 20th, 2022, and boy, we have a big breaking news cycle as MSCs have been paid out to the membership of this channel. I'll show you how to get it. It happened. Then we're going to turn to that fourth stimulus. It was paid out to the membership of this channel as well. We'll go over how you can get it as well in this recording coming up later. Stay to the very end. Then we're going to get a preview of tonight's Evenings LA as sixth stimulus, fourth stimulus, third stimulus paying out at the same time. And finally, we have a deal on oil. Is it with UAE? Is it with Iraq? Is it with Venezuela? I'll tell you who the deal is, and guess what? Your gasoline prices are dropping dramatically. Then we'll go back to the map. That is the talk of this channel. Viewership have gotten those big sums of checks, $80,000 of them. And then we'll be turning to sixth stimulus as the international leadership goes overseas to deal with Putin-based stimulus. It's happening at the same time as third and fourth. And then, of course, that big oil deal, and then the wheat problem looming on the horizon. A huge recording. And tonight, tune in for America's most watched show in prime time, Evenings LA at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. You do not want to miss that major financial news that impacts your wallet. See you then. But first, let's go into the Build Back Better Act, fourth stimulus recon. The legislators, in a series of correspondences back and forth this week, said they're going to give another round of attempts to get the vote called this week. Huge details. $15,000 of checks across the board, upwards of $60,000. 3 clusters and 3 add-ons. We're going to go over all those checks in prime time tonight. But here's a preview of that recording. Cluster number 1, hazard pay, plus the CTC, plus the elder care, plus the children's checks across the board. College students checks, vehicle checks, and also home repair checks, all in that first cluster. How do you get them? Tune in tonight for Evenings LALATE. I'll go over each of those checks at a time. First add-on, $25,000 for the purchase of your first home. From Maxine Waters, got it in there. Second cluster checks, home repairs to weatherize your home, and paid leave. Paid leave is if you have to stay home due to sickness or illness. And how do you get it? It's coming up tonight in Evenings LALATE prime time. You want to watch that show. The second add-on checks is the free home health care for seniors and people on disabilities. Just a little bit less than $250 billion. And it's huge. Then that third cluster checks, deliciousness. Seniors checks, free internet checks, farmers checks, independent contractors checks, which is huge. Those seniors are getting a lot of checks. They're getting dental, vision, lowering the eligibility age of Medicare, also hearing, and also the Medicaid gap fix. What are those details that are coming up tonight in Evenings LALATE prime time? I have to skim through these because I have a lot of other checks to go over with you in Build Back, and you know the one I want to go over. MSC. MSC, a monthly IRS stimulus check in Build Back, the 4th stimulus recon. But yes, you heard me right at the top of this recording. The membership of this channel has now gotten their MSCs from 3rd stimulus. I'm going to show you that in a second. But this is MSCs under 4th stimulus. Who would get it? The legislators represent that if you got a 3rd, you would get a 4th. Single individual, $75,000 less. You get a married couple, $150,000 less. Family of 4, quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, Social Security, Railroad benefits, you get it as well. That is the Build Back Better Act, MSCs, to be added to the Build Back that already has upwards of $15,000 to $60,000 of checks. But the big breaking news overnight is that the membership of this channel has done it one bet better. How have they done it? They got MSCs. Oh my goodness. The membership of this channel, and we're talking about a lot of viewers, folks, have now gotten MSCs in their hands. What's going on? It's coming up later in this video, but let me give you a preview. MSC, monthly stimulus check. Is this IRS stimulus check? No, but it's coming on a monthly basis, and it's more than the legislators were ever going to give for 4 stimulus. That's why I'm grinning from cheek to cheek. When the legislators were talking about that MSC for 4 stimulus, they were talking about $2,000 the first month, $1,000 thereafter for 6 months, $1,000 thereafter for 6 months. What are the viewership of this channel getting? They're getting on average $1,500 for 12 months. Yeah, that's just a little bit more. MSC, baby. The membership of the channel is getting it from 3rd stimulus, and I'm so excited for you. I'm going to show you how to get those MSCs later in this video. So if anyone's asked, did they ever do the MSCs? Yeah, they did it. The LALATE viewers have gotten it, and I'll give you in Evenings LALATE tonight some of the graphics. There's so many graphics of all the viewers. The range is anywhere from $1,500 to $2,000 a month. 12 months. Oh my goodness. Some cases 6 to 8, 12 months, but boy, it's huge. It's coming up in just a second. The other part that's also really huge is that while Build Back Better Act is not law yet, the add-on, the ancillary piece of legislation is law. This is law, and Joe has sent out those checks. How much has Joe sent out? Joe has sent out $80,000 of checks to the membership of the channel. Yeah, it's a little bit more than $2,000 and $6,000 thereafter. It's $80,000. Where do you get these MSC checks? They are for you if you got a 3rd stimulus check. You fall in the zone of income qualification and you own a home. If you don't, you can get those other checks for renters that are coming up in just a second. Let's look at this incredible map as a preview in the second half of this video. $80,000 checks from 4 stimulus have become law, and the viewership of this channel has gotten it. And that huge, exciting details is that this is really the biggest payout. As you saw when we went over Build Back Better just a second, we were talking about $15,000 to $80,000. Well, this is $80,000. And ironically, the low end on this is again at $15,000. So the same range as the core of Build Back, but this is an addition to Build Back Better. Oh my goodness. We're going to go over more about that after the commercial break. But first, let's take a look at everything else that had happened this last week. First, CR for stimulus. CR for stimulus passed last 2 weeks ago. The continuing resolution in December of March 2020 passed, and it did not have a $2,000 stimulus check in there. They already used up the discretionary funding, but they used some of that money for county stimulus. I don't have the ability to go over the counties, but county stimulus got in there. Now, Joe Biden is going to make another run at this because guess what? And I don't want to scare you, but it's the truth. There's another wave of COVID coming, and it doesn't have a particular name. It's called the subvariant to Omicron. It's causing a lockdown potentially in Japan, in China, and it's heading here. And in fact, we have confirmed cases in the United States. I can tell you for the first time in this channel right now. So Joe says, I need more money. Where's you on first name basis here, Joe? Joe and LA have telling you that he needs more money for COVID. So he's going to do another funding bill this week. He didn't get it done last week because he just had a couple problems of other things to do with that guy overseas in Russia. But he's going to do another funding bill this week, and I'll have more about that in prime time on Evenings LA. Another opportunity to get a check in there as well. The Fed and your SS300, really fascinating. Now, we thought we heard the whole story by about Wednesday, but we had not. Because remember, the Federal Reserve has its chief, Jay Powell, and then has his governors underneath him. He has to get everyone to vote and agree upon things. And if they don't agree, then guess what? They don't agree. So the Federal Reserve met this week and did exactly what the Federal Reserve said they were going to do the month before. The head, Jay Powell, said, I'm going to raise interest rates a quarter basis point and stay there for now indefinitely until I know how to do more. He also gave us guidance. The inflation rate will drop dramatically. First, he's going to do 175 basis point increase raises over 6, yeah, you heard me right, 6 meetings. So this was new. It was not 5 interest rate spikes. He's going to do 6 meetings, 6 raises, quarter basis point each. Quarter is also called 25 basis point. Then that will effectuate his goal, their goal, which is 175 basis points by the end of 6 meetings, which would drop inflation. Okay, now this is the surprise. They had wanted to drop inflation to about 4% by the end of the year. Now they want to drop it to about 1.9. I'm going to have more about that analysis in just a second. That's the first part of the fascinating twists and turns. But here's what's happening since then. 2 series of events. And I'm going to go over the first one, and then I'll go over the second one with my analysis. The second one is the following, that Jay Powell says that he wants to get inflation down, but some of the governors don't agree with him, like Fed Reserve Governor Christopher Waller and, of course, Bullard, who said that we need to come in stronger with 50 basis point right off the bat and hit it harder than this sort of weak soft landing. We covered soft landing in the channel. Soft landing means ease into things. Hard landing means just hit it like a hammer and then soften up later on. I don't subscribe to hard landings. I like soft landings. I think they're dangerous because we have too many conflicting economic data, Putin and everything else. We don't know what's going on. And Jay Powell doesn't know either. We don't know what's in Putin's mind or Xi's mind. And so what did Waller say? He says, I think we're going to have to do 50 basis points or more, and he's going to ask for more in a few meetings from now. So am I concerned about Waller? No, it's just someone appearing in the press. I'll have more about his comment on Evenings LA. It's the second part of the analysis that's fascinating. A lot of Wall Street analysts and myself here on, not the Wall Street, the Beach Street, is saying that, you know what, Jay Powell does not have these tools anymore. Yeah. What? Jay Powell does not have these tools. Many analysts now believe that Jay Powell does not have the tools with interest rates to bring inflation down. Why? Because they think that inflation is not really tied to interest rates like it used to be, and that this inflation is tied to, supply chain. Supply chain, which means the delivery of products. If you can't get the products, then guess what? Jay Powell will keep on doing interest rates, and the inflation will stay high. I subscribe to that theory, which is growing astronomically. So now they're concerned of stagflation. They think stagflation is in the housing market right now today. I'll feature more about what stagflation is in prime time. So there you go. Why is this important for your SS300? We're good. I think this is good news for you. I think that if Joe makes a swap now, we're fine in the month of March. I think we're fine if Joe makes a swap in early April. And for the first time ever, I think we may be fine as late as late April. I'll watch the data coming up in the next 2 weeks, but I had always said I was a little worried by late April. I wanted Joe to make the swap as quickly as possible because remember, you're locked into the highest inflation rate now of a generation right now. 8%. You don't want to have Jay bring it down to 6% when Joe makes a swap, because once your benefits go up, they never go down. Now, what about the end of the year? This is where it's a little problematic, because 4% would be another $100 a month. If that's the inflation rate, 4%. Now, when Jay's talking about 1 or 2, that ain't anything. That's $20 more per month. So we want that extra 100 on the back end. So Joe, make the swap right now. I'll have more about this analysis in prime time. But first, the huge other news is, of course, that 6 stimulus. In the second half of this video, we're going to show you how there's so many fascinating details happen at the same time. If you're new to this channel, let me explain what's going on. Stimulus packages can be given names, or they can be given numbers, or they can be given colors, or names of giraffes. But I choose a numbering system. And ultimately, someone every single video says, why are we talking about 6 if we haven't gotten 5th? And I continually choke back as I say, they do not come one at a time. They overlap. So yes, you're going to see in the second half of this video how 6 will be happening with 4th and 3rd at the same time. 5th is not happening yet. It's a Social Security reform. And the second half of 4th, Build Back Better, may happen after 6. Yes, a lot of fascinating details at the same time. What is 6 stimulus? It's the biggest payout you've ever seen in the history of this channel. Plus, we'll be turning to those MSCs. Yes, the membership of this channel, congratulations. You are getting MSCs. We are going over the details of that and how you can get those MSCs the second half of this video. Congratulations to the viewership of this channel as well. You're now getting 80,000 of 4th stimulus. Yes. And then we're going to look at 6 stimulus, which is all caused by Putin and Ukraine. And if you're wondering where this is from, it's from China, who is also part of the reason for 6 stimulus. I'll go over what Xi did and didn't do with Joe Biden this week and what could be happening next week. Boy, we have a huge broadcast. And then that oil deal. A lot of people are very excited to hear that in prime time on America's Most Watched Show in prime time, Evenings LA Friday night. I reported to you for the first time in America that we have a historic deal that will bring your gasoline down to potentially $2 at the pump, the best price level we have seen for nearly 15 years, not 15 months. It's huge, and it's coming up this week as those leaders meet overseas to solidify the deal. All those incredible details and more coming up in the second half of this breaking, big, huge afternoon's broadcast. But first is the community page. I'll be back with you in 60 seconds with all those MSCs and those $80,000 of 4 stimulus checks in just a second. But here's the community page.
If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE.
And the excitement continues right now. In the second half of a big afternoon's LA broadcast, we're going to go over those MSCs. Yes, monthly IRS stimulus checks that the membership of this channel has now gotten. How do you get those MSCs? Congratulations to them. Upwards of 12 months at $1,500 on pop. Then we'll be looking at that 4th stimulus paid out. Joe sent the checks out, and the membership of this channel is getting those 4 stimulus checks as well. How do you get those 4 stimulus checks? We'll be going over the latest details on that. Then we'll be looking at Putin-caused stimulus. Putin's still advancing to Odessa. He's not taking it yet. We're familiar, you're refrain on this channel. But that Putin-caused stimulus is the cause of a major deal on oil. Finally, a huge deal. solidified by the White House. I have the breaking news. If you didn't hear it on Friday's broadcast in prime time, I have a recap. It's absolutely incredible. And then I'll tell you why it does not solidify us staying away from recession. We could still go into recession. I'll tell you why. The huge details and more coming up in the second half of this recording. But first, we're going to start with those big $80,000 of checks. $80,000 of forced stimulus checks have now gone out. Let's go over the details. Forced stimulus, it's paying out. Congratulations to the members of this channel who have now gotten the first of the many to come forced stimulus checks. Forced stimulus checks come in many different forms, and Build Back Better Act is one form. The core of the forced stimulus, not law yet, but this was a forced stimulus add-on. A piece of legislation came on the side. I wouldn't even call it legislation because it didn't go by Congress. It went by, yes, Joe Biden's pen and paper. Executive order, much like an executive order. Joe Biden established 3 Fridays ago a forced stimulus add-on law, which gives you $15,000 to $80,000. And I told members that night, go and get it. It is now over 3 weeks, and the first viewers are starting to get those incredible checks. They're members. So let's go over this forced stimulus add-on that has now sent out the checks to the members of this channel. First, what is it? It is $15,000 to $80,000 per household. So that is household. You don't double it or triple it. Number 2, who can qualify it? What is the income qualifications? The same as a third stimulus check. Single individual, $75,000 less. If you got third, you would get this. Married couple, $150,000 less. If you got that, you can get this. What do you have to own? You have to own a home, and away we go. If you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, you qualify. If you're a renter, then you qualify for those MSCs, third stimulus, which are coming up in just a second into this video. Stay with me. You're coming up next. So if you're a homeowner and you got a third stimulus check, congratulations, you can get this. It is called, for purpose of this recording, the homeowner's grant. But how do you get it? You become a member, because members pounce and get these big sums of money before anyone else, and they clean up like anyone else. How do you get it? Become a member. The link is at the top of the chat and under the video's description. Membership. Become a member and get that incredible membership newsletter Monday through Friday for members, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. In it features the full-length name of the grant. Again, it's a grant, not a loan, so you don't have to repay it. It is not income, so it's not taxable. It does not impact your benefits. And finally, it's not a loan. You don't have to do a credit check. Then, open that membership newsletter. You see the name of the program. The membership newsletter starts with first the price of gasoline, oil, wheat, grain today, and then right under there it goes right into the name of the program and what is the eligibility, which we just went over. Then it goes over more details about how to apply, and also goes over the details of what the money's paid for. And then it gives you the link to go right in and apply. You do not want to wait a day. You would apply because it's first come, first serve. If you've been with this channel since day one, which is approaching the 2-year anniversary this April 25th, I had told viewers the importance of pouncing as Purple Hawks. Didn't use the expression then, but that's what I meant. The expression came into formation a year later. And pounce as a Purple Hawk basically means getting the money application on file as soon as it goes live, as soon as they receive it, because every time you wait a day, hundreds, thousands potential other people in your state get in front of you. Yes, this is administered by your states. Yes, you need to go apply and get it, and you can get it. So $15,000 to $80,000 per household. That's the income qualification. If you're on benefits, you can get it. If you own a home, you need to get this. And then what does it pay for? It pays for all these incredible things like the homeowner, like property taxes, associations fees, home repairs, and more. Go get it. I have more about this in the final minutes of this video. Stay the very end. More about this incredible money. How do you get it? You become a member. The link is at the top of the chat and under the pinned comment. Open that membership newsletter. Where does it come from? Via the YouTube alert system. Does not come by email. Does not come by horse and buggy, wavable check, or lobster dance. If you see a lobster dance, run for it with the tartar sauce and the butter, the delicious butter. Just don't trip on the butter. Run for it. It's delivered via the YouTube alert system at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Monday through Friday, which is 10 o'clock Eastern and 9 o'clock Central. All right, here we go. So that is for stimulus. Now, third stimulus, MSC. This is huge. I can't believe I'm making this recording. Third stimulus became law last year. And as soon as it became law, actually before it became law, I was training my viewers how to get it. I've been training my viewers how to get this third stimulus since about December 2020 because it's the same pot of money. At that time, I said, when third stimulus becomes law, there's going to be a lot of this. So I want to train you how to get it. And they got a little bit in December 2020, but when it became law, in January 2021, oh, they got so much money. They got on average about 45,000, but at the time, they got around, and even just no less than, 3 days ago, I was saying get around. You can see a graphic a second where it says get around. Around, at that time, was what I said, 3 to 5 months. I said, you know what, that's what we generally get. They got around last spring, January 2021. They got another round last summer. Last Christmas, we called it Christmas stimulus. They got about 3 to 4 months of rent. That was almost all the viewers got 3 to 4 months of rent. Oh, thank you, my members. Thank you, my members. I love when I can educate people and then they can take the education and run with it and do even bigger than I think that was possible. And here you go. Member after member after member in the last 7 days has now taken what I call round 3 to 4 months of rent and has taken it and gotten 6, 8, 10, or 12 months of reoccurring checks. Yeah, they're not getting 3 to 4 months of rent, folks. They're getting 12 months of rent. They're not getting 3 months of utilities. They're getting 12 months of utilities. They are getting reoccurring checks coming from the government or from the private organization every single month. And it's absolutely historic. It's more than the Build Back, which was $2,000 the first month, $1,000 thereafter. As they represented, they never passed it yet. That's only 6 months, and it's only $1,000 after the first month. But what are viewers doing? Lindsay Ramirez is getting $1,500 MSCs for 12 months. She's not alone. And tonight, LALATE on prime time, I'm going to go over the other viewers across the board. Here's Johnny the day before. When was Lindsay? Lindsay was Friday. Johnny Horvathan was March 15th. He got 8 months, which is amounting to 26,000. You could do the math. It's more than $1,000. It's more than $1,000 every month for 8 months. Then we have countless viewers. We have Melly Pin, who got 8 months. We have one of the big ones, which was Bill Garacidi. Let me flip to him. Yeah, Bill Garacidi. He says, hey, LA, I'm getting month paid every single month for 12 months. Wow. It's just astronomical. So there you go. It is checks every single month for 8 to 12 months, MSCs. Monthly checks, not sent out from IRS, but sent out for actually more than what Build Back Better Act was going to do. So where do you get those checks? Let's open the graphic and let's go over where you get these checks. Remember, you need to do it exactly the way that's featured in this recording. And let's go over where you get those incredible checks. You are going to open the membership newsletter because it's featured in the membership newsletter. And you're going to reach out to at least 6 places, at least. I've had a lot of viewers reach out to 15 to 17 places. So you want to reach out to at least these 6 places and get these big sums of money. You ready? I'm ready. Here we go. MSE, baby. Reach out to your city hall, your city housing authority, your county hall, your county housing authority. And the keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, mortgage or utility assistance because of COVID. There are 3 things you must do. You must reach out to all 6 places. There you go. You must do multiple applications and you must do multiple rounds. Let me pause right there. So this, as you see, this was the graphic just, a few days ago because I thought at the time that these rounds only pay 3 to 5 months. We've now seen that the membership has done it better. Members are now getting an entire year, not getting 3 to 4 month rounds. So aspire to get those MSCs for 12 months, 8 months, 10 months, not 3 to 4 months. Huge, absolutely huge. And then open that membership newsletter because all this is featured in there. That is the value ship of membership on this channel. And then reach out, rely on the nonprofits. The nonprofits really help you. They get those home repairs. They get those broken windows done. They do small furnaces, small portable heaters, small air cooling systems. And then the average view of the channel has gotten 45,000. Huge, just absolutely huge. And there you go. Great details across the board. Now, the other great details is that Vladimir Putin has economically disrupted so many things in world economies that the world leaders will be meeting this week. And I don't have the break in details when they meet. It is a very rushed meeting. What is it about? six stimulus. Yes. Now, as said earlier in this video, I give a numbering system. It does not mean one comes before the other. It does not mean they have to finish third before they get to six. I just differentiate it. And this is happening in April, maybe even sooner. The world leadership of economic countries are meeting this week with Joe Biden in attendance to talk about the six stimulus package. What is six stimulus? First was for COVID. Second was to be for COVID. Third was coming out of COVID. Fourth was coming out of COVID. And then fifth is for seniors and SSI reform. Six is for Putin and staying away from recession. It's also causing a lot of other issues. Now, we may say it's caused by Putin, but what is it Putin causing? He's causing disruption, recessionary angst and concern because of oil, because of commodities, which is wheat, grain, soybean, and nickel and others. And then we have the banking industry and the potential default of Russia by April 4th. So let me go over all the details that are unfolding about this because it's huge. It starts as a trifecta of Biden, Macron, and the German chancellor, all progressives, who understood that they needed to get off of Russian products for moral reasons, and they did. And in getting off of those Russian products, then they understood they're going to go into recession because they don't have something to supplement it. How did they do it? How do they solve the problem? To solve the problem, they debt spend domestically and then set out stimulus to their citizens. That is to solve the problems at hand. Let's go over each of those problems with the breaking news of each of them right now. The first problem is the commodities, wheat, grain, soybean, corn. Solve? No. Thinking about it? No. I am. No one else is, and I'm very deeply concerned. Why is this a big problem? When you look at the wheat and grain, the issue at hand is that those crops that service the bread and wheat and grain of that region, in cases like Egypt, 80% of their grain, and other countries like Germany and France, guess what? It is now not available. It comes from, yes, you bet it, right. It comes from the shores of Ukraine and Russia. And now those crops are unavailable because the crop farmers are not able to tend the crop. Why? Because they're defending a war in Ukraine. And now if you don't have those crops, then what do? Well, then the commodity price goes to the roof. Even if we increase it domestically, that's not the solution because guess what? The price has already surged to 10-year highs because there's all those crops for wheat not available. Let's go over the analysis. You have world commodities, so you have wheat grown in many countries. If an entire country is no longer available for that wheat, the price goes up. So we can increase production here, but we cannot increase it to the level of an entire country by increasing it in one or two states. We don't have that magnitude. So France, Germany trying to solve the situation? No, they've not even addressed the situation. What they have addressed is the big concern of a Vladimir Putin default. Vladimir Putin's eyeing down a April 4th default date. Why is that date more problematic than March 16th? Well, Putin did have a March 16th date to make a debt obligation. And he made it, we think, we don't know. Remember, you don't know if a person makes a debt obligation if the creditor doesn't tell you. And those creditors haven't told us. In fact, one said they hadn't gotten it, but they're still waiting. I'm not worried about March 16th because it was small interest payments of less than 100 million. I'm worried about April 4th because it's nearly $2 billion in principal that Vladimir Putin has to pay. And guess what? If he doesn't pay it, he goes into default. What happens if he goes into default? Then we have a banking industry implosion because our banks are dependent upon one another. And if a major debt obligation is not reached, boy, what would this do to the U.S. banking industry? Let me give you an example. At the time of this recording, we do not know if our major Fortune 500 U.S. banks have any, well, they have some, but we don't know how big, investment in Russian bonds or Russian equities. The Russian bonds are on the path to becoming valueless. So those U.S. banks are going to have to report in Q2, Q3 corporate earnings. I have a line item of a $500 million loss, for example. We don't know the magnitude. And it's going to be a shocker to the world economies because no one knows that coming. That is problem number one. And that is what Joe Biden had to do with Barack Obama on day one of the Obama-Biden administration, come in and save the banking industry. He may have to do it again. Number two, then we have the problem of China. China met with Joe Biden this week, and that is Xi. And if you're wondering where this beautiful pin comes, U.S. and Ukraine, it comes from China. Thank you, President Xi. So what happened with China and the United States? Xi was good and better than many people thought. Now, understand that Xi, before the Winter Olympics just a few weeks ago, had a letter that went out that to all press that was signed by him, and Putin says we're long lost buddies and we will ever forever be. So Putin thinks he has Xi on lockdown. Well, Biden is trying to sort of warm up to Xi and has done pretty well, better than many analysts thought would happen. So what did Xi say? We're providing humanitarian reform to humanitarian relief to Ukraine. And it's refugees. We denounce, we love peace. But Xi would not denounce Russia. In fact, Xi is still not acknowledging that invasion has occurred. So what's at issue? At issue is a very big concern, and we don't have an answer. We don't have an answer today, March 20th. We did not have an answer yesterday, March 19th, and we may not have an answer all this week. The Russian intelligence, which is then confirmed in writing by Russian officials, is that Russia asked Xi for money to offset our sanctions. Isn't that cute? We sanction Russia, and then Russia turns to Xi to get money back. Xi now confirms that correspondence. They initially denied it. Now they're confirming it. But Xi says they haven't given any money. Do we believe that? I don't particularly believe it. And are they never going to give them money? They would not represent. They wouldn't never. So remember, if Xi gives one penny to Russia, then we sanction China, and guess what happens to our economy? Our recession. Now, the great element of great news came out of nowhere, and it's huge. And you heard it on Evenings LALATE on Friday night. Joe Biden got a deal. He got a huge, astronomical deal. And can we just all do a pear dance at home? Your gasoline prices are coming down at the pump to the best prices of nearly 2 decades. Why? Because Joe Biden got that deal with Iran. Yes, a deal that is 15 years in the making has now been solidified, and it's going to be formally signed off in the next few days, which means that the gasoline will float out. Let me tell you what the deal is, and then I'll tell you how it impacts you financially. So the deal stems from a 2015 PAC that was called the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, that was looking to have Iran disarm its nuclear buildup, and then in exchange for that, our sanctions against Iran would be dropped, and millions and millions of barrels of their oil, which has been non-existent in our economy for nearly 20 years, would go back into our economy. And also our partners' economies, like France and Germany. Well, last Saturday, not yesterday, but the Saturday before that, the negotiations, which are not between the United States and Iran, they were actually between Iran and our partner allies, Germany and France, in Vienna, was halted. Why? Because Russia was concerned that if the deal was done, then Russia going to do trade with Iran. It's a valid concern. So the White House then turned around and got a great deal. The White House gave a verbal okay and then gave a written confirmation to Russia and Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, my favorite person in the world, that the whatever deal is done between the United States and Russia and Iran would not prevent Russia from trading with Iran. Good, because it's third party. We don't care what you do with other people. It's what you do with us. So that then allowed Lavrov to say, I'll let you do the deal. And the deal's being done. So also part of the deal is $530 million of debt that has been locked up for nearly 15 years in British banks will be released back to Iran, and also being released back is a British citizen who has been in Iranian detention for many, many years. Congratulations to that individual. So what does it mean for your price at the pump? It's huge. 500,000 barrels of oil will be flooded into all markets by the month of April to May. And then the number will grow to that's per day. 500,000 per day, folks. That is huge. And then it'll grow to 1.3 million barrels per day by the end of the year. Many analysts believe that this will bring the price of gasoline down to by $3 to $5 a barrel. I may have misquoted that a day on Friday, so let me restate it. Will bring the price, I believe they're saying, of Brent crude down by about $3 to $5 a barrel. I think it'll be even more significant than that. Basically, they're thinking that this will be the lowest price point you've seen in gasoline for nearly 15 years. Huge, absolutely incredible. What do we now know? Venezuela, angry. Iraq, angry. And UAE, angry. All of them angry because reportedly They heard the deal was being worked on. Jen Biden reached out to them. Remember how I said he needs to reach out to them? He did reach out to them, and they refused to take his phone call because they knew that Iran oil was coming. What about West Texas and East Texas and the Gulf of Texas? Let's go over that analysis because I haven't done it yet. What's important about that analysis is that this is oil that no Texas oil producer could ever flood the market with. 500,000 barrels a day, 1 million barrels a day. That is nothing that any Texas oil producer can ever do. So this is astronomically huge. Now, the wheat situation still not solidified, with 80% of that wheat coming from the Ukraine and Russia area. If we don't solidify that, then we go into big problems. The other problem is that Russian default. That Russian default is just around the corner. And we don't know the situation on that. Remember, to keep this country out of recession, Joe had to make a lot of moves and has to do it really by May. I mean, he has to get the price of gasoline down, 1. He has to get the commodity prices down, 2. He has to make sure that those U.S. banks are solidified and not exposed to that lockdown, 3. And guess what? He can't really do it. I mean, I just don't think it's humanly possible. I don't think any individual can do it. And that is why they're all meeting this week. They're going overseas to meet those world leaders because it's too much to do. And that is why 6 stimulus will happen at the same time as 3rd and 4th. Huge recording. Tonight on Amy's LA, we're going to go over more of these breaking details. First, a recap. If you just tuned in, let me go over the details. And then my commentary. As I told you, I have more information about the checks. 3rd stimulus MSC checks are going out to members because they've learned and applied it and gotten bigger and bolder than ever before. And they're getting monthly checks bigger than even 4th stimulus would ever pay. $1,500 a month for 12 months. Many viewers are getting. Then 4th stimulus paying out. Checks have gone out. $80,000 of checks that members of the channel have pounced and got to those big sums of money. Which then teases, and then the 6th stimulus is heating up an SS300 all at the same time. So let me go over my commentary to end today's video. It's a lot to go over, and I'm so excited for the membership of this channel. In today's commentary, I want to go over the importance of learning and educating oneself and taking things to the next level. The success stories of the membership this week shows you that if you learn and you want to excel and improve yourself financially and get that financial independence, which is what this channel is about, then you can take what I show you and educate you and run with it. If you don't want to be educated, all you want to do is keep the grass warm, standing next to the mailbox and looking in there every 10 seconds. Oh, is there a check? Is there a check? Is there a check? And never learn anything. You don't advance yourself. You don't create financial independence. Day one of this channel is all about financial independence. All about it. Learning how to get money left and right and how to get that financial independence. Learning how to pounce. Day one was applying for PUA and EIDL and UI. It was always about learning how to get that money. And along the way, some people sort of showed up and said, I just want to check. I don't qualify. I don't want to make a phone call. I don't want to learn. I don't want to do anything. I just want to hold out my hand. If a donor lands, good, but I'd rather have a check. And they were never really the nexus of this channel. And I said, I can't help you because you're going to be left behind because these items are all about pouncing as a purple hawk. And now we've shown it. We've proven it. We have really delivered as a community. These items, these payouts, not covered anywhere else. These success stories not covered anywhere else because they don't care to cover it. Print, broadcast, they don't care to sit there and go through your analysis with you and show you how to apply for things. They never helped you get an IDL. They never helped you get a PUA. They never helped you get a UI. They never cared. They never cared. If they can cover a tornado and get the ratings, they'll cover a tornado. If they can cover a car race or a car chase, they'll cover it. They don't care. And what I'm trying to really impart to the viewers, I think they're now understanding, is they don't have the heart for it. We as a community do. And that's why you've done so well. The inspiration is infectious because as one viewer gets the money, someone else gets the money. Coming up next is Evenings LALATE in prime time. We have a huge recording. And yes, if you like the pin, which keeps on falling. yeah, here we go. There, it's upside down. Okay. It's United States and Ukraine. It comes from China. So thank you, Xi. Coming up tonight in Evenings LA, we have a big broadcast. We'll go over those MSCs. We'll be going over those $80,000 of 4 stimulus checks. We'll be going over Build Back Better. We'll be going over CR. We'll be going over SS300. And then we'll be going over 6 stimulus, all happening at the same time. We got a big broadcast tonight. But for now, become a member. Go onto this video and become a member. Get that incredible newsletter so you get these $80,000 of checks, so you get these MSCs from 3rd stimulus and more. And with that, see me tonight in prime time, 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 7 o'clock Central. For America's most watched show in prime time for financial news, it's Evenings LALATE. You keep on winning, and I'll see you tonight.